Federal NDP Leader Jagmeet Singh visited the Okanagan this week and toured Penticton alongside local MP Richard Cannings. He started off Wednesday morning at the 11th annual South Okanagan Drive-Thru Breakfast before meeting with local frontline community service workers to discuss rising costs.
I always try to tour across the country whenever I can, and it's a regular part of my routine. Chose to spend time with Richard Cannings here in Penticton because it's an important community, and I want to hear from people, outside of the normal places where often politicians spend their time in big cities like Vancouver or Toronto or Montreal. I also want to hear from people in smaller communities and understand what they're up against.
Singh also said the federal government has a bigger role to play in the housing crisis in small cities like Penticton.
The federal government absolutely should has to play a bigger role in building more housing. In fact, the federal government used to be very involved in building more housing. And if you look back a couple of decades, our housing was much more affordable. The federal government was contributing in building more housing. And then for the past 2 decades stopped. And then we started seeing the massive gap in affordable homes widen more and more when the federal government stopped stepping up.
As for another pressing local issue of natural disasters and climate change, Singh said the federal government's role needs to start with a substantial investment in disaster mitigation.
Well, we really believe that we need to have a national disaster mitigation fund to help communities rebuild that have been hard hit, but also to prevent communities from suffering major losses by proactively investing in better infrastructure so communities are more resilient in the face of what's now become really common.
Singh will be headed to the Lower Mainland next on his tour. For Gasnet News in Penticton, I'm Casey Richardson.